successfully look after the affairs of the world.
This day have set upon a mighty endeavor, a struggle to preserve our republic, our religion, and our civilization, and to set free a suffering humanity.
Capital of our greatest adversary. That in raising that flag, we are raising it in the name of the people of the United States who are looking forward to a better world, a peaceful world, a world in which all the people will have an opportunity.
Hello, I'm Major General Mike Regner. I'm the 1st Marine Division Commander, and I'd like to welcome you all to the 70th anniversary of the 1st Marine Division. I'd first like to state that I am so deeply in debt to the veterans that are representing the 1st Marine Division today and in the history of the 1st Marine Division.
When the enemy struck, what did America do? It did what it always has done in all its times of peril. The answer to that appeal has been what any American knew it would be. It has been sheer valor.
Tonight, United Nations forces have once more crossed the 38th parallel, and the war in Korea enters a new phase.
Incheon's violent 30-foot tides leave no time for a second attempt.
There was hard fighting, there were casualties and destruction, but the inevitable result was annihilation of the insurgent force. For the defeated enemy, it was one more bitter lesson in the futility of challenging the 1st Division's enormous battle power and its irresistible will to win.
Over the past 70 years, the 1st Marine Division has changed in both size and mission. One thing remains the same. The 1st Marine Division has been at the tip of the spear for the nation's most elite fighting force and sets the standards for the United States Marine Corps. Fighting in every major battle since World War II, it is the oldest and the most decorated division-sized unit the Marine Corps has to offer. The division fought its way across the Pacific, landing at Guadalcanal, Cape, Gloucester, Peleliu, and the largest amphibious assault in the Pacific, Okinawa. Following the end of World War II, the division was chosen to lead the Incheon landing in Korea.
I couldn't wait to get to Korea. Well, after I got there, I had some second thoughts.
And all of a sudden, they opened up on us, and bullets ripped our shoulder half in half. I mean, it was hitting all around us.
After a certain point in time, you stop being scared because you have a mission to perform. If it's grabbing the rifle and shooting at the enemy, that's what you do.
I joined the Marine Corps when I was 16 years old. I was 17 years old when I was in Korea. I was out camping with the big guys. I was with World War II heroes.
I had been out of the Marine Corps for 5 years and volunteered to go to Korea. That's what a Marine was all about.
Korea was not too long after the Second World War. So a lot of the NCOs that we had, and even our company Gunny, was a Second World War vet. I remember him plain as day, Gunny Jeffries. He was with the Raider battalions in the Second War. And a lot of our staff NCOs were Second World War vets. And they really took care of us. They really guided us.
Well, the weather was very cold. We didn't dig in. We laid out on the ground. And one night we were laying out there, and somebody said it was 25 below. You never slept with your sleeping bag zipped up, and I never took my boots off.
We'd always been taught light coating of oil. You get up to 20 degrees below zero, that oil is too much. It froze up just like that. The dry weapons were the ones that kept firing, and they had a lot of trouble with stoppages at the reservoir. Failure to fire, failure to eject. Yeah.
It was so extremely cold in the wintertime, and then it would get hot and humid in the summer. And I could stand the summers. You'd have the monsoon season where your trench lines, it would rain and rain and rain, and trench lines be full of water and mud. But the old rice paddies that they'd fertilized all those years really had a good smell to them in the summertime, you know.
There were 7,000 some odd Americans known to have been captured in Korea. With this convoy, fought them off all night. During the hours of darkness, the next morning, we were out of ammo. The senior officer was an American Marine major, and he went down and talked to the Chinese that had us surrounded, and made a deal with them. We had a ditch lined with wounded and dead. He made a deal that if the wounded could go back to our own lines, those that were still there would give up. And he talked to us, and we weren't necessarily for that thing. We were going to fight to the finish, we thought. It's a shock to realize you're a prisoner. You don't know, are you going to get your hands tied behind your back, the bullet in the head, what's going to happen? They used to brag about how good they had it. One Chinese officer instructor told us one day, he says, in China, I can have an egg for breakfast every day. Some old boy in the rear piped up, hell, I could have a dozen every day if I wanted them. As it turned out, we were always on the walk, on the march. We stay a while in the camp, on the march again, moving us around. We didn't get enough to eat, naturally. There was very little, if any, medical treatment. Marches, forced marches, were hard to take. You just kept plodding.
I've heard people say that we lost the war in Korea. And I tell them that is wrong. We saved all of South Korea. And that's become a great ally and a very industrious nation. I mean, they build cars, they're behind the United States, they're a good ally of the United States. And to me, we didn't lose that war. People say if you fly over Korea's at night, North Korea is pitch black, and all the lights in South Korea, and you got a whole free nation, a very industrious nation, and a very good ally. That makes me feel good.
in the snow of far-off lands, or the scorched desert of the Middle East, the Blue Diamond will fight in the air, land and sea, continuing the legacy and the tradition of the old breed.
There's no difference between Marines today and Marines in 1775. There's not, because Marines are always Marines. E.B. Sledge, author of With the Old Breed, one of the greatest books written about Marines in combat, his quote, "You guys are just like us."
My first days in service, that would have been in 1986, back at MCRD San Diego, probably arriving, I guess, about 01 in the morning and scared as all heck.
The very first words out of the mouth of that drill instructor was, "You better give your soul to God because your ass belongs to me for the next 7 weeks." And that put all of us into a state of shock.
Boot camp? Oh, it was horrible.
It was a little bit of a shock, and I did get my fair share of shock treatment while in boot camp, but for the most part I enjoyed it. It's what I looked forward to, and it's what made me want to come into the Marine Corps initially.
First thing I remember, I just checked into OCS, and I knew what to expect. It was a rush, and I knew exactly that this was the right place for me to be.
I recall my first days in service being pretty intense, especially when I checked into the fleet. I was with 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines at the time.
Came right here to Camp Pendleton after boot camp, and it was ITR, which is SOI now, School of Infantry. It was Infantry Training Regiment back then. Same though.
Everywhere I've checked into, whether it be SOI or with 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines, no matter where I've gone, whether it be Viper or Afghanistan, everywhere I've gone has been unforgettable.
When I first got to Afghanistan, I knew somewhat what to expect. You know, we got briefs, thorough briefs on the enemy themselves, their way of thinking, their SOPs, but you never really know for sure what to expect until it really happens.
The crew chiefs on both sides racked the 50 cal guns to get them locked and loaded and ready to go. And it got to me at that moment that, oh, here we go. We're in a combat zone and combat theater from this point forward.
I'm looking at these guys, and they all look like the median age was about 45, even though I knew that they were only 18 or 19 years old. The looks on their faces were so distant, so blank.
I won't say that getting shot at is really scary. It's just like, wow, you expected so much more. But then you think to yourself for a minute, yeah, that could have hit me. Then you just keep on going. Then you get that little adrenaline rush, and it gets very exciting, and then it just stops and you're bored.
Boredom was the main thing. That when you were in combat that long, but maybe a month or so, and then boredom after that, and just nothing to do, just sit around.
The downtime, it was such a, I guess, a roller coaster of emotions. You know, you're happy, joking around 1 minute, and then all of a sudden all hell breaks loose.
You played cards. You joined everybody else in having fun, whatever you could do, conversation. Try to keep the coconuts from falling on your head, and the rats out of your sack.
It was always pretty dirty. We were always in the bunkers, always in the ground, in the dirt. For us, it was filthy. There were no showers. There were nothing like that.
And really, we had to live off the land. It was real hard to get water resupply, child resupply. We had to use some of our guys from the backwoods, you know, to cook food, live off the land, purify our own water, and it worked out. It worked out pretty good.
You're sleeping on a dirt floor and living in a very small patrol base with your platoon, and I mean, as rough as it was the best time in the world because you're there with your guys. You're there with your brothers. You're doing what you joined the Marine Corps to do.
We were all in the same boat, watching out for each other, you know. You come, even like the Marines today, you know, it's that camaraderie, you know, that makes you feel safe. That guy in the hole next to you, knowing that he's going to be there for you, that you can trust him.
counting on each other is going to pull you through. No matter if you hate that person or not, they might bring something to the fight that's going to save your life. You know, set your differences aside, accomplish a mission, and come home. That's all you got to do.
Having just returned from Afghanistan, I must tell you how very proud I am of watching the Marines in Marja. Now, Marja was a fight which really surprised the Taliban insurgents, and today you would see the accomplishments of the Marines in Marja by the bazaars that are open. Many terrorists have lost their lives, and the local mullahs, the religious leaders, the local elders of Sangin are now turning to the Marines and, in fact, assisting them in some of the areas that terrorists have traditionally ruled the community.
Every element of the division over this past year has now deployed into OEF and is either still there or has recently returned. And over the past year, that's very significant because as many times as elements of the division have deployed into combat over the last 70 years, the entire division has not been represented in a same combat theater at the same time, except for a handful of times. So this was a historic occasion for us to go forward as a division and fight in Afghanistan.
You know, win the hearts and minds, explain to them that we're there to help them. You know, we're not there to take over their country, run things the way we want to run it. We had to explain to them. We really had to conduct a lot of key leader engagements, talk to the local populace to explain why we're there.
Initially, we were assigned to do counterinsurgency operations. You know, being involved with the Delaram Bazaar and in Bakwa, doing wheat seed distribution, influencing local populace, getting the economy going, security, training of the Afghan army, and this kind of thing. And then ended up kind of working our way from west across the desert to east and eventually crossing the Helmand River into Sangin and being involved in pretty significant combat operations.
There was a lot more going on, a much higher threat of ambushes, small arms fire, RPGs, mortars, IEDs.
I can't think of a day where we weren't in a firefight or something wasn't going on, but we were good. We were better than good. Fortunately for us, we had a learning curve. We were able to find IEDs better than anybody else. We were much more accurate than anybody else. It was, I guess, a strange type of camaraderie.
We had those small moments where a bunch of us were able to sit back and laugh and enjoy the small things in life. It's like someone is doing something crazy throughout the day, or working with the Afghan National Army and watching them how they work and just working together as a team.
As we enter 2011, the 1st Marine Division will continue to make progress and changes. And as new tools are introduced to 1st Marine Division and changes take place in the way we fight, it will never change the spirit in which we fight.
So what we plan to do over the next year is continue the success that I've seen in combat, the success I've seen with the communities back home, the success and true hard training. Trust me, our young Marines today are as tough as nails, and we're going to continue to train and prepare for combat, counterinsurgency operations, and those operations, whether they're humanitarian or kinetic, meaning combat related, we'll continue to prepare and be ready to answer America's call, because we, the Marines, are the 911 force of America.
But the most surprising experience that I've been witness to within the division is the amount of small unit pride that takes place within such a large organization.
Because the things that the men of the old breed have done, they've set the standard for our generation of Marine to live up to. And it's our job to carry on the colors in a fight for them, because they did it for us first, so it's our turn.
It's all about heart. You got the heart, you know, you can be a Marine. 1st Marine Division has a huge history, great things that 1st Marine Division has accomplished, and being part of it, you gotta push forward, you know, continue the legacy.
Well, I'm very proud. I'm very proud of being a Marine, but I'm very, very proud of being in the 1st Division.
Every member of 1st Marine Division puffs up their chests and stands a little taller when they see the blue diamond patch, or they state what unit they belong to within 1st Marine Division, because they're part of that blue diamond history.
I can't imagine being any other division, nor was I. I was always in the 1st Marine Division, so naturally that's where my heart is.
I'm proud to be part of the best. 1st Marine Division is the best. It's nice.
It's a sense of honor, and I feel real fortunate to be a member of the 1st Marine Division, absolutely.
And I was proud to be with it then, and every time I got back to the 1st Marine Division, it was a good feeling.
Had a very proud heritage, and I was proud to be with the 1st Marine Division.
For our veterans, for our families, your Marines are well equipped. Your Marines are, in fact, the greatest generation of today. They learned that through the legacy set by our veterans. They're so strong, you would be so proud of the Marines forward deployed, of the Marines undergoing training, of the sailors right beside them in combat, and of course, our families. We are winning the battle, and we will win the battle beside our Afghan partners. Just as we won Fallujah beside our Iraqi partners, we will in fact continue to win in Afghanistan in the provinces of Nimruz and Helmand. There's so many things to be proud of, but again, our greatest generation today lives the example and the legacy set by our veterans of the past. Thank you.
To the members of the 1st Marine Division Association who celebrate the 70th anniversary with us here on Camp Pendleton this year, I would offer to each one of you that the 1st Marine Division is committed to remembering and honoring our traditions that you've set forth for us. You've blazed a path for us to move forward into the next decade, and we will do so remembering the service and the sacrifice that you've given us.
For the original members of the division, thank you. thank you for giving us the opportunity to challenge us to continue to uphold your good name. The Marines of today are honored to be members of this division because of what our predecessors have done and all the wars we've been fighting in since the division's inception.
The Marines of today are well-trained, well-equipped, better than they ever could have been, and are winning the fights for 1st Marine Division and for America totally.
What I would tell past Marines is that their legacy is going strong. There are good Marines, and there are good warriors. The Brotherhood's still here. We won't stop, just like you did. We'll never quit.
Good night, Chesty Puller, wherever you are. Hoorah!